Hi everyone, welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. This is the last mini scroll of 2024. It is a light news day, unfortunately. I was really hoping for some giant story to come out that I could get into with you guys. I still have 3 stories, but nothing super juicy. But before I start, I did want to say a huge thank you to you guys for making this year so seamless for me. I was worried, obviously, doing the podcast by myself, that we would lose a lot of audience. And we did. We did lose a lot of our audience initially because the vibe is just so different, obviously, being solo versus having a co-host. But we found so many new audience members this year. The podcast growth has been absolutely insane this year, largely because of YouTube. And I'm just so grateful to anyone that found us this year and, has made Mini Scroll part of your daily routine. Anyone that stuck around from the OG days when I had a co-host and, now the vibe is different, but you've stuck around. I'm just so grateful for this year. And I just think it's so cool that I get to basically do my dream job every single day. I built my dream job. I'm building my dream company. And it's so cool that every single day I get to share the news with you guys and dissect internet culture, social media trends. Sometimes it's petty, sometimes it's more serious, but either way, this is literally my dream job. And I am so grateful that you guys let me do it, that you guys have allowed me this opportunity by following along and supporting us and being super sweet when we have sponsorships and things like that. All of that makes a giant difference. And yeah, it's been a really crazy year, but it's been an awesome year. And it's really cool to be sitting here in this podcast studio in an office that I pay for, the business pays for, because I've grown a company that can afford to have an office space, can afford to have staff to help me close these deals and help me build the business so I can do 5 podcasts a week. All of these things are just so cool. And I am so grateful for everything you guys have done for me and for Centennial and Infinite Scroll and Mini Scroll this year. All right, without further ado, let's get into the stories for today. So the first story that I have for you guys, it's a bit of a 2-parter. There is speculation right now on TikTok that the Kardashians are going to buy the app. Okay, so there is this rumor spreading around on TikTok over the last couple of days that the Kardashians are trying to buy the app to stop it from being banned in the US. This rumor was started by a small creator whose handle is NEVRCRD.
Y'all, we don't gotta do it no more because the Kardashians just posted it everywhere that they're buying TikTok so that American people can still have TikTok.
They just posted a random video. I don't think there was any rhyme or reason behind it. And now this video has started to take off. Obviously, this is untrue, I'm going to assume. I have not seen anybody be able to verify this. I'm pretty sure this person just completely made it up. And now there's all these videos of people talking about it. I'm also going to choose to assume that the people who are quote unquote covering this as if it's true are getting in on the troll and they don't actually believe it. But you never know with TikTok users. And I mean, I'm guilty of this too. When you see something on TikTok and you just don't question it and you're like, oh yeah, that's true. So I fear that also might be what's happening here a little bit, but I'm going to choose to give them the benefit of the doubt and know that they're just getting in on the troll too. I also would be shocked if the Kardashians had enough capital to actually buy TikTok. I have no idea what TikTok will go for. I don't think that's been disclosed. But I would be surprised. I think the Kardashians have a lot less liquid cash than we think they do. So while the Kardashians might not be buying TikTok, there is a very small update to the US TikTok ban. Earlier this morning, the US Supreme Court agreed to hear a last-ditch legal argument from TikTok on January 10th, which is 9 days before it would be set to be banned. So they're going to hear why a ban of TikTok would be unconstitutional, as it would impact free speech of US users. I don't know, I'm starting to think it's very possible that this ban might happen. And I know that there's a lot of people who are like, oh, thank God, like influencers need to go get a real job now. Like, I'm so excited to see them all like lose their like cushy jobs and stuff. It's not just about the like 1% of influencers that we see who make tons of money on TikTok. There are literally millions of people across the US that have been able to pay for like college tuition, that have been able to buy their families Christmas presents or like pay for medical bills. Small businesses have absolutely thrived thanks to TikTok. Like, there is a much larger impact to just like the US general population if this app gets banned than just like, oh, the 1% of influencers now need to figure out their like source of income. And when people think like, oh, now TikTok influencers are gonna have to go get jobs, like they're not thinking about men. They're thinking about the girls that are like lifestyle influencers. They feel like there's like a net negative to influencer culture, and I don't necessarily agree. However, I think that the word influencer and the idea of the influencer industry is quite gendered. I think a lot of people associate it without even realizing with women. And I feel like if it was associated with men, this conversation might be taken a bit more seriously. Okay, speaking of TikTok influencers, the next story that I have is that B Chapman is trying to take accountability for her fumbled jewelry line earlier this year. So this is kind of closing the loop on a story from October. So B Chapman is a TikTok creator who gained a big following for travel and fashion content. She gained more attention this past year because she got engaged and had a baby, and around the same time, she also started calling out snark groups that have doxed her and caused her a lot of harm. So she got some press write-ups because she was like being very vocal about the harm that snark Reddits and things like that cause creators. And it is interesting because like obviously a lot of creators have snark Reddits about them or snark forums or whatever, but Lily is one of those like niche creators who deals with it a lot more than the average creator of her size. And I don't really know why certain creators trigger or like generate more snark than others, but I'm gonna say it has something to do with feeling like a creator is self-aware or not self-aware. And I think a lot of people would say that Lily falls into that not self-aware category. And yeah, she just generally, for a creator of her size, has so much more snark around her than others. Okay, so in October, Lily released merch based on her favorite jewelry pieces that she wears all the time. We talked about this on Mini Scroll back in October. This turned into a big scandal because she seemed to be stealing from existing brands and products, like stealing designs. As one user wrote, quote, "These aren't ideas, they're just already made things you like." Others speculated that she had purchased these items wholesale from like Alibaba, AliExpress, and was trying to say these were like original designs based off of jewelry that she loved. All of this really exploded when a TikTok user, verified blue checkmark, stitched one of her videos sharing the existing designs and Lily's alleged merch.
I guess there's a big difference between someone's idea and someone's design. Because if you put these out with your name on it, not only have they already been done as a dupe of a dupe of a dupe, but it's going to be very hard to argue what makes yours any different than the $2 ones from AliExpress, besides having your name on them.
He even made a TikTok noting that one of the earrings that Lily claimed were no longer being sold anymore were seemingly still available from a brand named Petite Moments. So Lily had these earrings and she was like, the brand no longer sells them, so I have made like my own version of them to sell to you guys. And people were like, you can still get those earrings. Lily went on to make a TikTok referencing Mark's content, denying any claims that she was purchasing her products from Alibaba or planned on dropshipping. She also explained the process of product development, saying that she was working with a company who works with producers. Essentially, she sends the company ideas and mood boards, and they send back samples. Essentially, she denied the claims, and she was quite defensive. And then this all just fizzled out, as internet drama does, and we all moved on. Now, 2 months later, Lily has addressed the situation in a new video. She said that it was her manufacturer's fault. They sent her samples with molds that had been used for other brands, and Lily was unaware of this when she posted them on TikTok.
I took my hand too off the wheel, and that led to me presenting samples to you guys that were made with molds that the manufacturer had previously used, and that's why you were able to find the samples that I showed you on other websites. While I didn't know that these samples weren't unique to this merch drop, it was my job to do that due diligence and check, and I failed to do that. People expected and deserved a higher level of originality than I presented with those samples. And then when I got called out, I responded with dismissiveness and humor because at the time I still thought I was right. So thank you to everyone who pushed me to look further into it to find out that in fact I wasn't.
Now, Lily didn't address the earring situation where she claimed that the earrings she was going to sell were no longer available, but this is what she says about the situation. She says she's not going to work with the manufacturers again, and she is launching another brand now where she's going to work with smaller teams, more like individual artists and things like that. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys is that Ariana Grande has addressed if she will be touring anytime soon. Speaking with Variety, Ari said she doesn't think she will be touring anytime soon. Quote, I don't see it coming anytime soon. I think the next few years, hopefully we'll be exploring different forms of art, and I think acting is feeling like home right now. I am appreciative for my fans' understanding. I'm so grateful for the ways in which we've grown together on this whole journey with Wicked, but music will always be a part of my life. So her fans are upset, understandably, because obviously they want to see Ari perform, but also because I guess she did say that she was going to do like a mini tour of Eternal Sunshine, and she said that was in the works. And obviously now she's kind of saying she's not going to tour that album. I think it's very clear that she has outgrown or is outgrowing her kind of pop girl era, her pop girl persona, at least for now. I saw somebody say that they feel like she might be going down the Lady Gaga route, which I actually could totally see. I think acting is far less demanding in terms of like the physical element of touring. I think is so exhausting. Not that acting is not a demanding and a physically exhausting, demanding career, because it absolutely is. But like compared to doing like a world tour, it is probably much more grounding than the pop girl vibe. I also think we sometimes forget how much Ariana Grande has gone through in the last 10 years. And not just that, but she also was a child star. Like, there's a lot of trauma that has happened to that girl, that woman. And I think it makes total sense that she just wants kind of like a quieter, more subdued, more like quote unquote like normal feeling life right now as she gets into her 30s. I think she feels like doing Wicked and kind of acting is right now helping her find who she is. Because I do think she seemed a bit lost over the course of her music career, you know, kind of just like almost like a chameleon, like blending into like whoever she was hanging out with. And she has a lot of, I think, healing to do. And I think she's in that era right now where she is like discovering who she is. So this is sad for the fans, but I'm happy for Ari if she feels like, you know, the pop girl vibe is just too much. I would think it's too much. I would feel that way. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. That's it for Mini Scroll for our first year of Mini Scroll Daily Podcasts. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for this year. I love you guys. Please rate, review, and subscribe. I would love to have some nice reviews to come back to. Please rate us on Spotify. We are trying to get to 500 by the end of the year. Again, I have no idea if we'll get there, but you guys are pulling through. They're coming through faster now. I love you guys, and there will be a deep dive tomorrow with my team, and then I will talk to you next year on January 13th. Bye.